Hello and welcome everybody. What is going on? So the Bundesliga is officially back tomorrow and it has been quite a while. The summer break was a long one. It was a terribly boring one, and the good thing is football is now officially back. It is now officially back. Professional football is now officially back. The football that matters week in, week out is officially back. So I wanted to do a season preview, season predictions kind of video for the rest of the season. Probably Sunday in all fairness. Probably Sunday or Saturday. I'm probably gonna do just a Bundesliga preview. I was planning on doing that this week, but I was a little bit busy, and so instead it's gonna be early this weekend. So with the Bundesliga starting, with the Bundesliga resuming tomorrow, there's a lot of big stories. There's a lot of interesting stories that can be said, but I just wanted to focus on with this video just on Bayern itself, and maybe talk about more things in the future. But let's just do a prediction for what I expect, what I hope, and what I wish. So what do I expect? I expect a very good campaign. That's the first thing. I expect a very good campaign in all three major competitions: the Bundesliga, the Champions League, and the DFB Pokal. I think we will definitely win not the Champions League. We'll definitely win the Bundesliga. I think that's a very high chance. I put it at like a 95%. Unless something really weird happens where suddenly the two teams which I expect to be behind us, which are Leipzig and Dortmund, unless one of those teams really excel and really go above their actual potential. If that is the case, okay, then I'd be a little bit worried. But I do think that we're still the very clear favourites, and we have the squad, honestly, to win the Bundesliga quite comfortably. I know last season we had a lot of problems. Last season it wasn't a glorious season. There were a lot of matches, there were a lot of games where we looked rather poor. There were a lot of times when we really didn't look that good. But we still kept winning. We still kept grinding them results, kept getting draws when we should have gotten losses, kept getting wins when we should have gotten draws, and I think that's going to be very similar this season, but I expect that to happen a lot less. I expect us to really play much better than we did last season, and I think that's pretty much my big hope, that we will play much better than we did last season, because if we do, then this should be a very fun season in my personal opinion. So that's the Bundesliga. I also expect Lewandowski to be the top goal scorer of the Bundesliga, Thomas Müller to be the top assist maker in the Bundesliga. I do expect a very big campaign from Kimmich. I expect a lot of assists just because he's that good at his crossing. And I also think that the likes of Tolisso, Süle, Rudy, and James will have a great season. That all of them are going to play very, very well. And James, I think he's going to just be like in the middle for us. So in terms of assists and goals, he's going to be pretty much in the middle. So he's going to have, roughly, I'm just guessing here right now, but roughly 10 goals and roughly 5, 6, 7 assists, that kind of range. The same goes for Thiago, although I think with him it's going to be a bit more assists than there will be goals. Then you have Vidal, who I think will be a bit more goals than assists. Then you have Robin, who will be obviously more goals than assists. So I do expect a lot of our players, not the way it was like last season, where last season we were basically dependent on Lewandowski. I fully expect and fully hope as well that this season we're not going to be as dependent on Lewandowski, and we're actually going to get a lot of goals from obviously the other players, and obviously that is where Thomas Müller will contribute. Seemingly, I'm going to say seemingly, but he is pretty much back, but him seemingly being back is going to do very good for us. Him being back is going to be very good, and that will mean that Lewandowski, the whole pressure won't be on Lewandowski, and we'll have two players that can really contribute to the goals and the assists. So I think them two being there are going to be very important, and depending on where James is going to play, I think him being there as well is also going to be very important. Then you have the likes of Coman and Sanchez, who are obviously young prospects, young players that, in my opinion, will have a very good season. Coman, a very good season, a very, very good season, where a lot of people will start, to accept that he's going to be the replacement, and a lot of people still don't accept it. Despite the club basically saying that he is the replacement. But I do expect him to have a very good season, where a lot of doubters are going to change their mind on him, I think. Then in terms of Sanchez, we don't know if he's going to be loaned out or not. Rummenigge came out today, I believe, and said that we're definitely not going to sell him, so that's a given. He's not being sold. But we're still on the fence whether we'll loan him or whether he's going to stay at the club. But he's definitely not being sold. They believe in his potentials, and ultimately they want to keep him in the long term. So that's the good thing. You know, obviously at the beginning of the beginning of the transfer window, there were a lot of sales pitch. You know, that Rummenigge was saying, yeah, we're going to try and sell him if we find the right price and whatnot. But now it just seems like, yeah, he actually wants to keep him, which in my opinion is a very good thing, because I believe in Sanchez. Hashtag Team Sanchez. So that's the Bundesliga. And yeah, that's the Bundesliga. Let's move on to the DFB Pokal. And we've already started, obviously, the DFB Pokal campaign, but I just thought that for me, always, it really starts once, like, the third round starts. That's usually when, not just me, but a lot of people will start putting their attention on the DFB Pokal, and I think that's pretty much going to be the same case in the future. That once the third round starts, you're going to see a lot more of these, like, foreign a lot of these foreign channels and whatnot. They're actually going to show the DFB Pokal, and it won't just be a case where you can only find the matches if you're in that area, if that makes sense. So that's why the DFB Pokal, I think, similar to the Bundesliga, in all honesty, I still see us win that cup. We're still obviously the overwhelming favourites. That's not going to change anytime soon. But I don't think it's going to be much harder, because, as I mentioned, in last season in the Bundesliga, we had those moments in games where we should have gotten a draw, and then we got a win, or we should have lost and we got a draw. That really doesn't apply to the DFB Pokal, because if you're expected to get a draw, essentially, if you're playing that way that you're gonna get a draw, and you get a draw, and then it goes to extra time, and if you're still playing that bad, then you're gonna lose. And ultimately, that's basically why the DFB Pokal is such a special cup, because obviously only one match, so anything can happen, really. So it's gonna be a lot more difficult. I see us get to at least the semi-finals. And then the finals, I do think we're going to get to the final as well. I think we're going to win it as well. That's me being totally honest. But I think we're definitely going to get to the semi-finals, and anything above that, you know, would be a bonus, you could say. But I think the key player, and I don't know why, but I think the key player will for the DFB Pokal will be Thomas Müller. I don't know why, but he usually plays very, very good in the DFB Pokal. I think there was at one point where he just scored every single match or whatnot, and he's just one of those players that really turn up for like these kind of games. So I just think he's going to be our most valuable player in the DFB Pokal. He's going to score the most goals and get the most assists, and I think that's pretty much what I think is going to happen throughout the whole rest of the DFB Pokal campaign. Moving on to the Champions League, and I think a lot of people want to hear my thoughts on the Champions League, because, well, the Champions League is the thing that everyone wants. The Champions League is the thing that everyone hopes for, that everyone wants to win, that everyone expects the big performances, that everyone ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, everyone wants. The Champions League is that cup, you know. If you win it, you're the best. If you win it, you're the best in Europe. So right now, the best in Europe are Real Madrid. I would say we're second. I'm not going to say my top five, because I said this before. A lot of people obviously disagree. You know what, I'll say it anyway. My top five in Europe, just in terms of performances, is probably Real Madrid, number one, Bayern, number two, then number three, I would say Juventus, number four, I would say Atletico Madrid, and number five, I would say PSG. I thought PSG was ahead of Barcelona last year, but now especially I think they are ahead, because unless Barcelona can really get a good replacement for Neymar, it's not so much that PSG got Neymar, but the fact that Barcelona lost Neymar, that I think that I put them ahead. The thing with Barcelona is that obviously their midfield is weak, their defense is pretty weak, it's their striking department that's very good, whereas PSG have a very good team. Atletico Madrid, they're just so well drilled. Juventus, they have a very good team and they're so well drilled, and we have a very good team and we're not as well drilled, I guess you could say, but that's where our individual quality just makes up for it. You know, our individual quality in the striking department, our individual quality in our defensive department, and our individual quality in goal, as well as obviously midfield. So that's where I just put us just above Juventus, and then you have Real Madrid, who I just think are just too strong at the moment. But the question, of course, is, can we beat Real Madrid? And I say yes. I'm an optimist. I know a lot of people aren't. I am. I always look on the bright side of things. I'm always positive. So I think, yes, we can beat Real Madrid. Obviously, they've won the Champions League the last 2 seasons in a row. I thought last season, if we had a little bit more luck, I'm not saying refereeing performance because we were pretty poor, let's face it, but if we had a little bit more luck in the first leg with Lewandowski not being ill just for that one match, we would have done a lot better. And I think ultimately we have the right coach, we have the right manager, we have Ancelotti, who is a master of the Champions League. And if we're being totally honest, we were the one team that really held Madrid at bay last season. I mean, you could say Napoli and Dortmund did a really good job as well, but it is primarily us who really, over 2 legs, who really got close, I guess you could say. So they obviously have a world-class midfield. They obviously have a amazing attack and a defense that is now more well-drilled than ever. Not necessarily a great defense, but more well-drilled than ever. So when you have all these factors together, that makes for a very scary team. And I think they're honestly the team to beat, being totally honest here. But I do think that we're the team that can beat them, in all honesty. So Champions League-wise, obviously, obviously, I should be saying we're gonna win it. This is our year, whatnot. But quite frankly, I think I don't think I need to say that, because I think that's pretty much a given that we're gonna win it this year. That's just me saying that. Looking at the right side of things, we have the players right now. We have a lot of players that really want to win the Champions League. You have the likes of Vidal, who really wants to win the Champions League. Then you have the likes of Lewandowski, who also really wants to win the Champions League. And you have a lot of these players, that are about to retire, in the likes of Ribery. Then you have Robin. And they also obviously really want to win the Champions League. And we've seen what robbery who want to win the Champions League can do. They're obviously old. But I think the thing with most people is that they say, okay, once you're 30, you can't play anymore. That's essentially the way it is. And I think that's a bit rubbish, to say it nicely. It's a bit rubbish. Once you're 30 doesn't mean that you're automatically old that you can't move anymore, that you can't play anymore. It just means that, well, you're 30. You're 30. If you keep good shape of your body, you're gonna be 30. You can be 35 and still play awesome. Just look at the likes of Pirlo. Just look at the likes of Robin. Even he comes back from injury like once a month, and he just comes back and he's just firing again. So just speaking from that, I do think we're gonna win the Champions League. I think the final will be between us and Juventus. In all honesty, I think the way I'm hoping we're gonna meet Barcelona in the round of 16. We're going to meet Atletico Madrid in the quarterfinals, and then Real Madrid in the semifinals, and then in the final we're going to meet Juventus. I want to play Juventus in the final, I really do, because Juventus, they just deserve it. They just deserve. They're always there. They're always doing well. It's the same. You could say the same thing about Atletico Madrid, but just because I like Juventus more than Atletico Madrid because of their style of football, you could say that Juventus deserve to get to a final. But obviously, I want us to beat them in a final. So that's just my thoughts. I think we're going to win the Champions League. I think top goal scorer will be Lewandowski. Top assist maker will be Thiago, and then the best player of the Champions League will most likely go to pick one of Messi, Neymar, and Ronaldo. That's ultimately who's going to win it. It doesn't matter what happens. So that's my take though for a season. That's my take though for the rest of the season. And tomorrow the Bundesliga starts again against Leverkusen, which should be very fun. It should be a match that, in all honesty, it should be a match that it really shows the capabilities of both teams, really shows the attacking prowess of both teams, because both teams obviously like to attack. One is kind of in a disorganized mess, and the other is still finding his rhythm. So should be a very fun match, should be a very scrappy match as well, but a very fun match, and I think that's what we can look forward to. That's what we should look forward to. And then until then, though, ladies and gentlemen, you will see me tomorrow. After the match, and probably before the match, just before the match, I'll make my preview like 2 hours before the match, so at least there isn't that much of a wait. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys then. Peace out, everyone, and have a nice day. Bye.